Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We got Samuel here and Gabriel. Today, we're going to talk to you about Star Wars The Last Jedi. Now, I had recorded a review of this.
That's what we're doing?
Yeah, that's what we're doing. I had recorded a review of this, like, day one, right when it came out, but I thought it was difficult to talk about, so I felt it would be better actually to review it with another person where it was more of a conversation as opposed to
for a few days.
That too. So now you've seen it.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. He's told me he's seen this film.
I say a lot of things though.
So
I thought to trust.
I thought we would give some of our thoughts about what we liked or didn't like about it, and there has been a lot of gripes about this movie. Definitely, what is it? A polarizing film in terms of Star Wars films. I mean, like, we're not talking prequel hate here, but there's been some dislike for it.
You know, you remember I came over and I had to ask you. I said I don't know, because I had been avoiding most things Star Wars because I hadn't seen the movie yet, and but I'd heard there was a lot of hate about it, and then I saw it, and I really quite enjoyed it. I'm kind of getting old and bitter and kind of hating all movies these days, and I found it a little long, and it had too many last stands. But that's just a movie thing. I thought, as like story-wise and the way the directions they took, I loved it. I thought it kind of played out pretty organically, but you know, I found it was like a grown-up kind of film.
Yeah.
The first one was great. You know, it was like the classic kind of tale. You know, we know the good and the evil. This one had a lot of middle ground, and then you had to kind of question Luke Skywalker's character and this and that. And
well, I think that's partly what other fans, what they will call themselves traditional purist fans, really don't like about this is that they hate the fact that Luke isn't the legend that they grew up with, right? Mm-hmm. Like that the legend of Luke Skywalker that you see like Rey and them talk about in Episode 7, you've come to meet, and it's like when I went to art school, you would have these chances where you could meet, like they would have artists come in, like famous artists come in, and sometimes if you were lucky, you know, like your favorite artist or your hero for sake, you could have a chance to have them come into your studio and talk to you about your art. And one of my profs said, if you ever get the chance to meet one of your favorite artists, never to do it because
well, that's to never meet your heroes.
Yeah,
right?
Because they'll never live up to your expectation, and they might it'll destroy your image of them. And so I feel like that this movie is kind of giving us a dose of reality in what we don't like, and I think that maybe that might be what people are responding negatively to is that if we wanted real life, we would just live it. We want the fantasy, and I think so. But you know, like I think I saved this screenshot of off of Instagram, a site called Nerds Do It Better, really captures it. You know, like. So all these people that would be complaining, their typical argument is that they ruined Luke Skywalker. I can't tell you how many times I've seen they ruined Luke Skywalker. He would never do this. And what I loved about it is that it made Luke Skywalker human, and you really get to see how your actions in a second can devastate a lifetime of stuff, like, you know.
Yeah, but I still people talk about he ruined Luke Skywalker. I'm like, I just feel like they didn't watch the original 3 films. I mean, like, I grew up watching them a lot of times, and Luke, by the third movie, the Return of the Jedi, I think, because that's what most people are thinking about. Return of the Jedi, he comes back and he's kind of mastered this or that to a point, but then again, he hasn't, right? Like, wherever he goes, he's always angry and impulsive. This is why, you know.
Well, you know, and then
I think character-wise, this movie was wonderfully in character. I thought that was like I thought, like, when Luke was this old curmudgeonly guy who didn't want to train, was like, no, and I hate everything, and I'm training. I'm like, that was like, yeah. That sounds about right. But that also comes from just being, I think when you get older, you have different expectations about life. And so when you see these things, people wanted the hero movie. But remember, this is a second movie, like Empire Strikes Back was a second movie.
Well, yeah, okay, so here's this quote that this did. And it encapsulates, because the other thing a lot of people have a problem with is that side mission that Rose and Finn go on, where like where it deals with again real things with like with war enterprising, right? But anyhow, so it says, just saw the new Star Wars, and it's total garbage. They ruined Luke. They ruined Star Wars. First, Luke abandons his friends because a ghost told him to. Then he dismisses the ghost's warnings to go and save his friends. Then they retcon his parent. No, okay. So this is an argument. Like it's it's presuming that it was like 37 years ago when Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
So this is the joke. Okay, so
I'm sorry.
Okay, so just saw the new. I'll reread it.
That's what I do.
Just saw the new Star Wars film, and it's total garbage. They ruined Luke. They ruined Star Wars. First, Luke abandons his friends because a ghost told him to. Then he dismisses the ghost's warnings to save them. Then they retcon his parentage, and he loses. What happened to writing endings? The whole Cloud City subplot is just pointless. And the SJW excuse to introduce a black character who is in command. Also, Leia's a captain now? What the fuck, feminists? And don't even get me started on Boba Fett. Total letdown after all that build-up. Overall, the whole thing was riddled with poor attempts at humor. Even Darth Vader has one-liners, totally killing the mood. And the huge plot holes. They don't even tell us the Emperor's backstory. And just save your $250 and don't even bother. And so, I think that this really, you take those same arguments and you apply it to this film, which is why they did it, of course. When they're like, what was the point in Snoke and his backstory? It means nothing now. And then, or what was the point of this side mission? It could have been done this way. That was a waste of time. Although, for your argument that the movie was too long. This is one thing that I would agree with, is if they cut out that subplot and instead of going to this other planet and building up what was going on there, you have a hacker and you have a guy who knows about stuff. They could have just gone straight to the thing. Because after all, the person that they went and got they didn't end up actually using him. The whole reason they went there never mattered. But, to be fair, these things happen in life.
But the point that they put that in there, I thought that was a little bit much. It would have been shorter if they didn't have that.
But if they didn't have that.
Of course, the reason they had that in there was for the very end, where you see this kid at the end who, grabs the thing.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And you're like, and then because the movie was about the legend, right? Where Luke realizes. But people talk about he ruined Luke. That's pretty silly, because at the end, Luke actually was convinced by Rey when she said, we need that legend.
Yeah.
And he says, oh yeah, I guess I gotta do that. And that's what that's what it gives us more of that grown-up movie, legend going kids, to inspire that sort of feeling, right? So, and that's what the movie was about, was inspiring the new generation of rebels. At the end of the movie, there's fucking 7 of them left.
that's just it. They're really embers. When Poe says, we're the embers that will start the fire. It's because there's nobody. That's
why they had all those last stands. I was arguing and saying they could have cut out 3 out of the 157 last stands they had in the movie. Maybe cut it back just a hair. But that's what they were trying to go for. They were trying to go for that feeling of it was meant to be a very depressing movie in some ways, but in other ways that new spark of hope. Yeah, the new hope. Whatever.
I think 2 things about this new set of trilogy is one. All that things that people complained about the prequel trilogies, about being sloppy, about being messy, about we wanted to see the fall of Darth Vader. We wanted to see him doing this. We're getting to see that now with Kylo Ren. We're getting those.
Well, we wanted to see what's her name? Rey had the dream, and she saw his future. Blah blah blah. And then we're like, Snoke made that connection. What? It's all dark. It's all awful and stuff like that. But because we wanted to see Kylo Ren come down. We want to see Kylo Ren turn and be like, I get it. I've been done so wrong. I accept it.
But the thing also is then, if this is the start, really they're looking at a 6-film arc and not a 3-film arc, which is where really this first 3, in my opinion, are going to be about one.
So it'll be a trilogy rebuilding in 6 parts.
Yeah.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is the increasingly, was it misnamed? I can't remember how they said it.
It's the average. You have the Deathly Hallows. We need to make 2 films. It's Hollywood standard to double things up. But I think if you go
job creators,
if you go
stand-ins need jobs.
Yeah, if you go with the formula of having a prequel trilogy and then a sequel trilogy,
right?
So they're just mirroring they're mirroring the story of Darth Vader through Kylo Ren, and Luke's the new Obi-Wan. He's going to be the new Ghost that's kicking it out there. You've got.
Yeah, Luke's going to be the Ghost in the next.
Yeah, see, and that's the other thing is that people are all freaking out, and you're like, well, he's not gone.
He said in there, he's like, I came here to die.
Yeah,
this is what I wanted, right? Like you saw Obi-Wan do the same thing in the first film. He's just like, I'm tired of being alive. I'm old. I'm not like whatever Yoda's species is that can live for fucking 900 years. I made it to like 75, and I'm old, and I'm tired as fuck.
Yeah, and
so like Luke's got that same kind of thing. He's like, I made some bad decisions in my life because I'm impulsive. Am I allowed to swear on this film?
Yeah, that's fine. He's a little late to be asking that now, but
well, you could bleep it out. Right?
I likely will, but whatever.
That's cool.
Bleeps are funnier than the actual
I like
swear
bleeps.
words. Yeah,
I like bleeps. They're great. They're like, we're pretty sure we know what he said.
It's the R2D2 of.
Yeah, it's kind of like that little tiny, like, you know, like censored, or someone's running around naked and they're like following around really fast with the censored thing, you know, but it slips and you say like a ball, or oh, I saw a ball, or you say a nipple. Oh, I think I saw half a nipple. And you're like, oh, it was awesome.
Star Wars.
What?
Okay.
I was talking about boobs. Okay. I thought that's what we were talking about. Star Wars? What the fuck are you?
Star Wars and boobs don't go together, unless it's Return of the Jedi.
Well, when she was dancing, when I was a kid, I tell you that I was waiting for a slip. But it didn't happen. They're doing the song, and then they changed the song.
Now it's owned by Disney. It's never going to happen. No, but actually, I think in some ways, though, that's to go back to like that sort of idea. I think. It's darker, like Rogue One too. Also very dark, both Disney films. So the idea of them not making
it's not dark. Like relatively, it's not, because like people talk about like, oh, you ruined this or that, but like what they're doing is they're trying to meet the general like zeitgeist of now, and people are watching things like, I mean, like, you know, when you're watching Game of Thrones. You know, there's a whole other level of what is dark and what is not, right? And so they're just trying to kind of keep up and make things edgier, right? And so of course you're going to alienate some people doing that, but at the same time, like like comparatively edgy or dark, it's not.
So, you know, I think another thing that these fans need to think about is this: they're not actually looking to keep fans of the franchise who've been watching it for 40 years happy so much as they're trying to keep people like our kids happy.
They're trying to
bring in the next 40 years of Star Wars
into the theaters. And I thought, as a film, I thought it was great. And honestly, when you make people hate on the film, like we said before, like it makes controversy. We are making a film about this film.
Well, that's just it.
So that we're pushing that. We're helping them in the way.
Yeah, like a divisive film is a good film because it'll keep people talking. It'll keep people arguing. The longer people are arguing, that's just free advertising right there.
It is. So,
I mean, really, for all you guys that hate the new film, the best thing you could do is just shut up.
Yeah, but you can't.
I know, but that's what's brilliant about it.
Because Star Wars creates those feelings that you just like. I can't help it. Like I don't get into debates on a lot of these things, but like when it comes to Star Wars, I can't help myself
because Star Wars
I was raised in this stuff.
It's one of those franchises where it's like a member of the family.
Yeah,
like, you know, like, I mean,
don't F with my Star Wars.
Yeah, But, you know, I don't think this is Patton Oswalt's, you know, if I could go back in time, I would slay George Lucas with a shovel material by any means.
After he already made the first three, right?
Yeah, after he made the first three, yeah.
He's done.
But I think, I was going somewhere. I mean, I really enjoy these films. And one of the things that cheers.
You got drunk and forgot what you were going to say. But that was just me.
One of the things I'm interested for in film 9 is how they address Carrie Fisher's death. Because, well, see, it's funny also, I was talking to my father earlier, and he was like you.
Oh, I forgot, she's dead.
Yeah, she is. In real life, she's dead.
Oh, in real life, like for real. Oh, man. So that's why this movie just came out. Like, I didn't even think about that.
So that's why I thought.
It was a while ago.
So, yeah, So for all you guys
that are,
no, they haven't filmed that one. I think they are filming it as we speak. Oh. But for the people who are like, we want this stricken from canon, keep in mind, like, it's not going to happen. Disney's not going to, because all this while, like, the movie's made like $500 million or like I don't know how much. It's made all the money.
Yeah.
So at this point, Disney's like, meh, don't give a shit.
They got like Scrooge McDuck jumping into them.
Yeah.
Like, he's wallowing in money. And you're like, hey, you got to rewrite it. And he's like, what? I can't hear over the money clicking.
Yeah. So, but the other thing is say they did get their way.
Yeah.
Really, what they're asking is to smite out Carrie Fisher's last performance as Princess Leia, which I think is sacrilegious. You know, like, I mean, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, my dad saw this film today with his girlfriend, and he was telling me about it, and he was saying it too. You know, like he'd heard all this negative stuff, right? And then, but he's like, the movie ended up being better than what he expected, way better. So on one hand, when you have a lot of people hating on something, it really manages your expectations. I think it runs the risk of not breaking the internet. And that's another thing is that it's the 8th film.
So, but remember, like, one of the things, sorry, I mean to cut you off, but like, what's going to happen is when you create all this buzz, is that when enough people hate on it, and other people go, and then wait a second, I love this, right? And then they come out with their thing, and then the people who hate it go, well, let me go watch it a second time. Let me go pay $150 for one ticket at a theater to go see it a second time. That's about how much tickets.
Yeah, it's about that. Yeah.
I've been a little bit out of touch. I think it's about $150 a ticket.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah.
So you pay $150, and you go see the movie again. And you got to get a second mortgage on your house and stuff. That's cool, but like you really want to see it, and you listen, and you're like, you know, actually those guys had a point. Like I get what they're saying, right? You know, and or maybe I go back and watch it and I go, I see what they're saying. I hate it. I need it stricken from canon. No, that's not going to happen. I don't give a shit.
No, that's never.
But because I liked it, I you know, like I said, this was kind of like the grown-up Star Wars, which Empire Strikes Back was too, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you watch. You talk about like different styles of filmmaking, and you can look at like South American and European and North American and different. And they have different ways of dealing with things, right? This is like slightly away from that normal, you know, North American kind of way, and that they always do, like the good guy wins, you know, and so they knew what they were doing, because the hype gets people talking and it gets people coming to the next one, which they know will be it'll be a third one, part of a bigger arc you're talking about.
Well, see, because
right?
Here's the funny thing, also is with the 6 films.
But you watch the next one will have more of that Return of the Jedi feel, more of that like let's get back and kick some ass. And so and then they'll be like, this is what Star Wars is about.
Well, because for these guys, because I think one. Part of it is
Muppets in this one too.
Yeah, but
oh no, sorry, Ewoks. I always mix them up.
The people that are hating on this, I think part of it is because The Force Awakens came out, it broke the internet,
right?
And I think we got people excited because it was the first Star Wars we hadn't seen in forever. Rogue One came out, people were excited because it was a new Star Wars that wasn't saga.
Yeah.
Right? So then you have this one, and now it's like the 9th Star Wars film, but it's the 8th Star Wars film. Like, we've seen Star Wars.
Right.
So it's really hard to get hyped up about these things, like, in the same way. And so the thing is that over time, people's love for The Force Awakens kind of diminished, and it became trendy to actually hate on it a bit. Not hate on it like
but everybody kept talking. What I love was everybody say, "Oh, it's like the first one rehashed," and you're like, "Well, yeah, but that one was about 10 other movies rehashed."
Yeah,
you know, like that, like you know, that was silly. Like, I mean, it was just it was a cool movie, and I thought it had a fun twist because you really thought Finn was the Jedi for a little while, and then it was real. I thought that was really cool. I thought it was really fun and stuff, but then of course all those guys were like, "What was with the female hero and stuff?" I need a black guy or something. You're like, what? Just there's people in it. Fucking get over it. Like, earlier on, obviously, like in the very first ones, you had Leia. Like there's.
Ooh, she's going.
It's all good.
Yeah, that's.
But I mean, it's always.
I have no idea where that died, but just keep talking.
It's all good.
We don't remember where we were. Gabe's got a lightsaber and a new beer.
This is like my 7th beer, I think.
So we talked about. I think where I was going, where I was trying to go, was the idea of like if they're removing Carrie Fisher's performance. One of the things my dad talked about was...
Well, you were saying before, you said that people talked about this being stricken from canon.
Yeah, they wanted to be stricken from canon.
But we also have to reckon in the fact that this was Carrie Fisher's last role in Star Wars.
Yeah, so even if they were willing to do that, because their argument would be, well, they just deleted like 60 books and whatever. But the reason they did that was pretty clear from a business standpoint. They either would have to go through all those books and decide what is and what isn't canon, which is a nightmare, or easier to just be like, you know what, those are legends, and legends exist, and legends are things people talk about, but they aren't necessarily things that happen. And so, I mean, it made perfect sense. And so the one thing is I know where we were going in one sense, is that on one hand we have these fans that where it became, I think it was popular to hate on The Force Awakens. So I think some of these people who have gripes about it don't really have gripes about it so much as they're just trying to get ahead of the curve and like guard their love for it. It's like, I know people who love the prequel trilogies, but if you were to look at them in the face and you were out in public, they would say, "Oh, those movies are stupid. There was all this." But like, there are great things that happen in the prequel trilogy.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before, right? Like,
yeah.
where like, I love griping about the prequels too, right? Because I was raised a certain way, and I hated. I was raised watching Star Wars, and
back in my day, we didn't use no CGI.
That's what I'm talking about. I had to walk to school
both ways.
It was uphill both ways. In the snow,
duct tape
barefoot,
for shoes.
Duct tape for shoes.
And this is a Canadian winter, so it was minus 50 with the wind chill.
Okay, but I mean, exactly. There were some great things. There were some really fun things in those. Like, I mean, there were certain. I didn't like the direction they took, for the most part. But I enjoyed some of this, and I enjoyed at least like 25% of that lightsaber battle between Obi-Wan and.
That lightsaber battle was so long. I think that was the most. But I think.
Well, I mean, like, good 23% of it, though, I tell you, was really enjoyable. And then, like, the 75% of it, I was asleep. And, I was like, I woke up and.
We're not talking about the This is spur. That's another video. but.
Those prequels.
So the idea being that you stricken these from canon, you're getting rid of Carrie Fisher's last performance as Princess Leia. But the question comes now, where do they go? Like, my dad said he was happy that they didn't just kill her off. And after she passed away, it would have been so easy to reshoot that scene where she gets blown out
and she just doesn't come back.
And she just that could have just been it. Like, they could have just reshot any scene where she was in it afterwards. And that was another thing. People were like, "Oh, she's so important in this film," and
yeah, but maybe, who knows? But maybe they had shot some of her stuff in the third one already.
Yeah,
and maybe they already have a way. Maybe she was supposed to die. Maybe she died in the second scene of the third one.
Yeah,
and they already had that filmed, and so like, we're good.
Yeah, well, see, I don't know. That's it. There's stuff we just don't know. But if they haven't, the question then they face now is do they recast? And you'll get these diehard fans that would be like,
they'll just CGI her.
Yeah, that would just be like, no, that's wrong. That's like, except that Disney went on record as soon as she died and said that they wouldn't CGI her like they did.
Yeah, I hope they don't CGI people once they're dead, because I find that really
like her estate said it's okay. I can't remember if Billy Lord said, but somebody had said that they wouldn't have found it disrespectful because that she put so much into it and she loved the character so much. Right. So, but I think Disney themselves said that they weren't interested in doing it
because a lot of people would find it creepy.
Yeah, no, there's the uncanny valley.
Yeah, and maybe, who knows, maybe, like, we talked about, these films are for the kids, not for us, right? And maybe in another generation, people won't find that as creepy. That's just what you do. But you die in the middle of it, they just CGI you and stuff.
But yeah, I think if you respect the character, the thing to do would be to recast. And just whatever part
just roll with it.
And just roll with it.
Back in the day, sometimes you just have to recast people and you say, oh, that's just what it goes. You just don't. And after about 10 minutes, you just buy it, you know?
Because I think after this film in particular, like, I mean, she used the Force to keep herself alive in space. You don't give a person like that an off-screen death or an off-screen anything.
Yeah.
Because I feel like she was going to play a big role in bringing Kylo Ren back to the light side of the Force, and at the very least playing a role as a matriarchal figure.
Like as his mom. She has the Force and it's his mom.
Yeah, but I think she's going to be an important role to Rey herself, because I think, you know, she's now going to be, she's the new Luke. Like, if there was any doubt about it before, like, the idea of what they did with Luke now was to be like, let go of your... Well, like, when Kylo Ren smashes his helmet and he says you have to let the past die.
Right.
Like, metaphorically and literally, they're telling the fans, like, those films happened. You have to let that go and just roll with these films. And so you might not like it, but, I mean, it's the new story. You can't... They've
This
shown
is
with
the direction we've taken it, so just deal.
They've also shown with the Force Awakens that if you copy things too closely, people get pissed off. But if you change things, people get pissed off. And honestly,
Yeah,
I
really can't.
I didn't
can't
feel
win.
like that this film was too different from The Empire Strikes Back. In fact,
No, if you really go back, I mean, one of the cool things about this, if you go back and watch The Empire Strikes Back, you'll see like, oh, I see what they're talking about, right?
Yes.
Because a lot of people just kind of ignore it, and later on, people who love the movies and but didn't love this one, they'll just kind of ignore it the way people ignore Empire Strikes Back, right?
yeah. But I think they kind of took the formula of what happened in Empire Strikes Back and reversed it. So that the average moviegoer looks at it and says, "Oh, well, it's not the same as Empire Strikes Back." But I mean, Empire Strikes Back.
The reason I say it sounds like it was like The Empire Strikes Back is just the general feel.
Yeah,
It's not so much like Luke tells Rey don't
yeah,
do this, and she does it anyways, kind of thing, right? And just like they said, Yoda and the Ghost said to Luke, don't do it, and does it anyway.
yeah. But I think they just reordered the same elements. They
Right.
took the same elements, put them in a new order. It's like when you're borrowing from a song.
New Order, did you
Yeah,
say?
the new order.
You put it in a new order.
Yeah, the first order
Sorry,
to be
put it in
to be exact.
a new order, the First Order.
But then there were things, and like people gave us, they're like, well, Snoke doesn't matter. And I personally, I half wonder if Snoke didn't transfer his consciousness into Kylo Ren.
You talked about that with the Supreme Leader thing, right?
Yeah, well, because, they showed like the Force abilities in this movie basically show you that almost anything is possible if people are willing to try it. And it harkened back to this idea of...
Well, that opens up a lot more doors to different ways to take it in the future. Right?
The idea that if he could bridge minds and he was reading minds while he was killing... So what if, this is pure speculation, but what if he was controlling Kylo Ren at that moment and it was a charade for Rey? And this is how he gets Rey into the fold, is he appeals to her nature to want to save him. But then he takes over. Han Solo had said
there's
himself.
all kinds of ways. What they've given themselves, like you said, is a lot more doors are open now for future movies, right? They're in for the long run.
Yeah, they're in for the long. That became very clear when I watched this film. Is this is not a short game they're playing. They're playing a longer game, and so to be like, oh, what are they going to do by the end of the next movie? There's only one more movie. That's just ridiculous thinking.
Yeah.
And the other thing also is people who get upset about, no, I have more questions and not all the questions. Guess what? That's a literary device to make a good story.
Just to get people coming back, right? To answer those questions, right? So
The cat's running off with a bag.
The cat was in there playing with the bag. That's all I'm working with, eh? It's not the size of your lightsaber. You use it.
I assure you that if you hang on to that one and I hang on to this one, we have a battle straight up now, you're going to lose. Assuming that we had room to move around. No.
Dead.
No. All right, none of this. Okay. So, thank you for entertaining us while we drank beers and talked about Episode 9 and Star Wars-ish stuff. These become... I know, a lightsaber. These are important. They are from Ultra Sabers. I ordered them. They're a mystery box saber. They come for $75. You get whatever. This is important information to you because if you've watched this video, you're a Star Wars fan. And you might be interested to know that what I'm going to do is we're trying to build our subscribers, encourage people to interact with us. So once we hit 500 subscribers, 500 from our subscribers who've been leaving comments in the sections, we will hold a draw. And I will give away a copy of Episode 9. Or not Episode 9, Episode 8. I will give a copy of Episode 8 via iTunes, Amazon,
Digital
Xbox,
copy.
whatever digital copy. I will gift it to the winner. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, 1,000, I will gift you a mystery box from Ultra Sabers. These are awesome. Some of them come with sound, some of them don't come with sound. You don't know what hilt you're getting. You don't know what color it is. It's kind of like Christmas every time you order one, but they're always badass. Badassery. They usually come with a longer blade. I ordered the shorter blade on purpose.
Florentine.
And then that's for our YouTube subscribers.
Block,
for our
stab.
Patreon subscribers, once we hit 150 Patreon subscribers, the link for that is below. We will be holding a raffle. So if you really want to double your luck, what you could do is subscribe, leave comments, and get drawn into a draw that way. Or you can go over to Patreon, become a Patreon, give a buck. Get yourself put into a second draw for one of these. Double your chances. And actually, I mean, that draw would be easier to win because we're only looking for 150 people. So
better odds.
Whereas this is 1,000. But I mean, you double. Well, I don't know what the math is, but your chances are the more ways to enter is to leave comments, be a subscriber, and check out our
subscriber.
Be a subscriber and be a patron. Thanks for watching. Here's our other video you might be interested in. We always put out new videos on Tuesdays. Tunes on Tuesday. Whatever on Wednesdays, whenever I think to put out a whatever on Wednesday. And until next time, stay awesome.
You're talking normals just to see what it sounds like.
Just talk normal.
Yeah.
So I was
give me
going
a
down.
cheers.
I'll give you cheers and a beer.
Cheers and a beer.
I was going down the street when I seen this one hooer. She just looked at me with the stink eye. And I said to her, you know what, if you'd gone to school for just a little longer, you might not have to be a hooer. But, you know, she flipped me the bird, okay, and I accepted it, you know, because I was a bit of a dick just then, you know. So I went down there and I kept going and minding my own business. And that's when I skipped on the ice. I didn't skip because I slipped on the ice, you know.
And where did this happen?
This happened downtown.